The next speaker on my list is His Excellency Igor Vishnevetskii, Deputy Head of the Parliament for Non-Proliferation and Arms Control of the Foreign Ministry of the Russian Federation. You may address the floor.
Allow me to begin by congratulating you on your appointment to your position of responsibility and assure you of our fullest support. Mr. President, at the outset, allow me to share the message from the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, to the participants and guests of the 10th NPT Review Conference. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to address you at the opening of the 10th Anniversary NPT Review Conference. In over half a century of its existence, the treaty has become a key element of the international system of security and strategic stability. The obligations stipulated by the treaty in the areas of non-proliferation, disarmament, and the peaceful use of nuclear energy fully serve the interests of both nuclear and non-nuclear weapon states. As a state party to the NPT and one of its depositary states, the Russian Federation has consistently adhered to the letter and spirit of the treaty. We have also fully implemented our commitments under our bilateral agreements with the United States on the reduction and limitation of relevant categories of arms. We believe that a nuclear war cannot be won, and it must never be fought. And we stand for equal and indivisible security for all members of the global community. We attach great importance to the Iaea safeguard systems as a verification mechanism for the treaty, and we consider it extremely important to ensure its objective, depoliticized, and technically justified application. We are convinced that all countries that comply with the provisions of the NPT should have the right to access peaceful nuclear energy without any additional preconditions. We are ready to share our experience in the area of nuclear energy with our partners. We hope that the conference will reaffirm the commitment of all states parties to the NPT to comply strictly with their obligations and make a significant contribution to strengthening the nuclear non-proliferation regime and to ensuring peace, security, and stability throughout the world. I wish you success in your work and all the best. Vladimir Putin. Mr. President, in recent times, the international security and strategic stability situation has been deteriorating rapidly. A flagrant violation of the principle of equal and indivisible security resulting from the malicious expansion of the military bloc of countries seeking undivided military, strategic, and geopolitical dominance has provoked an acute crisis in the center of Europe. Russia, which is forced to defend its legitimate right to its core security interests, has been subjected to a hybrid military campaign fraught with a slide into a direct armed confrontation between nuclear powers. Russia has been unfailingly committed to the noble goal of building a world free of nuclear weapons. In fully implementing our international obligations, including those under Article 6 of the NPT, we have been bearing our fair share of responsibility for preserving peace and strengthening global security. Russia continues to fulfill its obligations under the 2010 START Treaty. On our initiative, the START Treaty was extended for 5 years in February 2021. In July 2021, a comprehensive dialogue on strategic stability was initiated by an agreement between the presidents of Russia and the United States. However, those positive developments were devalued by the U.S. policy of ignoring Russia's red lines in the field of security. And our rebuff was used by Washington as a pretext to freeze the strategic dialogue. Given this situation, it is more critical than ever that the nuclear powers behave with restraint and responsibility. The Russian Federation is strongly convinced the nuclear war cannot be won and it must never be fought. At Russia's initiative, the commitment to this principle was reaffirmed not only within Russia-US and later Russia-China dialogues, but also in the joint statements of the leaders of the 5 nuclear weapons states on preventing nuclear war and avoiding arms races. Mr. President, the confidence of the NPT states parties in IAEA safeguards is a key factor in the sustainability of the entire nuclear non-proliferation system. We believe that the basic principles of the IAEA safeguard system should remain objectivity and technical faithfulness and consistency with the safeguards agreements concluded between states and the IAEA. Nuclear weapons-free zones constitute an essential element of the non-proliferation regime. We consider the establishment of such zones to be an important factor in strengthening the non-proliferation regime as well as regional security and stability. Russia supports the efforts of Middle East states to create a zone free of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction as provided for by the NPT Review Conference of 1995. We are convinced of the need to swiftly establish and fully resume the implementation of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action on the Iranian nuclear program. There are no alternatives to these arrangements. Mr. President, one of the most important achievements of the NPT is that it not only limits the proliferation of nuclear weapons, but also ensures that states parties have access to the benefits of the peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Russia has consistently advocated the right to develop peaceful nuclear technologies and has actively supported other states in this area. I would like to emphasize that our main goal is to ensure that this review conference contributes to strengthening the NPT rather than to increasing divisions within it. All parties to the treaty need to make every effort to that end. In conclusion, we would like to strongly refute all allegations that have been made against us concerning unprovoked aggression against Ukraine. The current regime in Kiev came to power as a result of a coup and immediately began first persecution and then an armed struggle against the Russian-speaking population of the Donbass area. For 8 years, Ukrainian nationalists have been killing civilians on this territory with near impunity and preparing a large-scale military invasion of the republics that had, in fact, essentially broken away from Ukraine. Furthermore, Kiev authorities, having signed the Minsk agreements, which were the only way to bring peace to this land, had no intention of implementing them. The situation in Ukraine had reached its limit, and Russia's actions were a necessary response to the atrocities that were taking place there, and they will be brought to their logical conclusion. We provide our detailed response to the insinuations about alleged threats of nuclear weapons and actions aimed at undermining nuclear and physical nuclear safety of facilities in Ukraine will be provided later when we exercise our right of reply. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for his statement.